1-2. Interim U.S.-Iran deal appears to take shape amid ongoing tensions. Geopolitical analysts are closely monitoring the Middle East as an interim peace agreement between the United States and Iran appears to be crystallizing, potentially ending weeks of hostilities. U.S. President Donald Trump publicly claimed that a deal to terminate the conflict could be finalized as soon as this weekend, though official diplomatic confirmations remain ambiguous. According to Iranian state media, the tentative 14-point draft includes reciprocal commitments. The U.S. will suspend crippling oil sanctions, and Iran will reopen the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz within 30 days. The negotiations are heavily contingent upon the immediate release of half of Iran's frozen financial assets and the total lifting of the U.S. naval blockade. As quoted by the Iranian foreign minister, the agreement has never been closer, signaling a potential de-escalation. The resolution of this standoff is critical for global markets, as the uninterrupted transit of energy supplies through the strait heavily dictates international crude prices. Should the diplomatic framework hold, it represents a monumental shift in the region's volatile power dynamics. Vocabulary. Crystallize. Verb. 구체화되다, 명확해지다. The new foreign policy strategy began to crystallize after hours of intense debate. Hostility. Noun. 적대행위, 적개심. The UN called for an immediate cessation of hostilities between the warring factions. Terminate. Verb. 종식시키다, 끝내다. The corporation decided to terminate the conflict due to repeated breaches. Ambiguous. Adjective. 모호한. The spokesperson gave an ambiguous answer that left reporters deeply confused. Tentative. Adjective. 잠정적인, 임시의. The two nations reached a tentative agreement on border security protocols. Reciprocal. Adjective. 상호간의, 호혜적인. The trade pact was based on reciprocal tariff reductions to benefit both economies. Crippling. Adjective. 심각한 손상을 주는. The country's economy suffered under the weight of crippling international sanctions. Contingent upon. Adjective. 뭐뭐에 달려있는, 조건으로 하는. The investment is entirely contingent upon the approval of the regulatory board. De-escalation. Noun. 긴장, 갈등의 완화. Diplomatic efforts are solely focused on the rapid de-escalation of military threats. Uninterrupted. Adjective. 중단 없는. The data center requires an uninterrupted power supply to maintain global operations. 시사용어 해설. Oil sanctions. 석유 제재. 특정 국가의 경제적 돈줄을 차단하기 위해 해당 국가의 원유 수출을 국제적으로 금지하거나 제한하는 조치입니다. 이란의 경우 국가 수입의 절대 다수를 석유에 의존하므로 이는 치명적인 압박 수단으로 작용합니다. Frozen funds, 동결 자산. 제재 등의 이유로 해외 은행에 묶여 있어 당사국이 마음대로 인출하거나 사용할 수 없는 자금을 뜻합니다. 협상 타결의 핵심 보상 카드로 사용됩니다. 1-3. 2026 World Cup commences as Mexico defeats South Africa 2-0. The highly anticipated 2026 FIFA World Cup has officially kicked off, igniting a month-long celebration of global soccer co-hosted by the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The prestigious tournament commenced at the iconic Estadio Azteca, where the Mexican national team delivered a commanding opening statement. In their Group A clash, Mexico secured a dominant 2-0 victory over a heavily penalized South African squad, which was reduced to 9 men following multiple red cards. Forward Julian Quiñones electrified the massive home crowd by netting the tournament's opening goal, expertly capitalizing on the opponent's defensive vulnerabilities. Shortly after, veteran striker Raúl Jiménez added a second goal, decisively cementing the host nation's triumph and securing 3 vital points. The match was characterized by intense physicality and strict refereeing, resulting in a flurry of disciplinary actions. Analysts note that this decisive early victory significantly bolsters Mexico's statistical probability of advancing through the expanded group stages. Vocabulary. Commence. Verb. 시작되다, 개시하다. The international summit will commence immediately after the opening ceremony. Commanding. Adjective. 위험 있는, 압도적인. The general presence of the leader had a commanding effect on the entire room. Penalize. Verb. 벌하다, 페널티를 주다. The regulatory body will heavily penalize corporations that violate environmental laws. Electrify. Verb. 열광시키다. The sudden late goal electrified the stadium, sending fans into a frenzy. Capitalize. On. Verb. 뭐뭐를 활용하다, 기회로 삼다. The tech company successfully capitalized on the growing demand for remote software. Vulnerability. Noun. 취약성. The cybersecurity audit exposed several critical vulnerabilities in the network infrastructure. Decisively. Adverb. 단호하게, 결정적으로. The military decisively defeated the insurgent forces in the final battle. Triumph. Noun. 승리, 대성공. The discovery of the vaccine was hailed as a monumental scientific triumph. Physicality. Noun. 육체성, 격렬한 몸싸움. The referee struggled to control the extreme physicality displayed by the defenders. Flurry. Noun. 돌풍, 갑작스럽게 몰아치는 거. The controversial announcement generated a sudden flurry of angry emails from customers. Host nation. 개최국. 국제 스포츠 대회나 회의 등을 주최하는 국가를 의미합니다. 이번 월드컵은 북미 3개국이 공동 개최하여 지역 경제 활성화와 관광 수입 증대에 막대한 영향을 미치고 있습니다. 그룹 스테이지, 조별리그. 월드컵의 초기 단계로 각 조에 편성된 팀들이 풀리그 방식으로 경기를 치러 상위 팀이 다음 라운드 토너먼트로 진출하는 방식입니다. 본선 진출국이 늘어난 이번 대회에서는 조별리그 승점이 더욱 중요해졌습니다. 2. BBC 2-1. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol removed from office following impeachment. Following a period of unprecedented political upheaval, South Korea's Constitutional Court has officially upheld the impeachment of President Yoon Suk-yeol, decisively removing him from office. The historic ruling stems directly from his deeply controversial and botched declaration of martial law last December, which provoked severe domestic and international backlash. As the verdict was pronounced, intense emotional reactions spilled into the streets of Seoul, with thousands of deeply divided protesters organizing massive rallies. To maintain order during this constitutional crisis, Acting President Hang Duck-soo has issued emergency directives prioritized to ensure public safety amid potential civil unrest. Legally, this monumental decision triggers a constitutional mandate requiring the nation to organize a general presidential election within the next 60 days, scheduled for early June. The swift and dramatic conclusion to Yoon's presidency highlights the robust mechanisms of accountability embedded within South Korea's democratic institutions. Analysts suggest that the forthcoming election will be heavily polarized, reflecting the deep socio-political fissures exacerbated by the martial law decree. Vocabulary. Upheaval. Noun. 격변, 대동난. The sudden resignation of the prime minister caused unprecedented political upheaval. Uphold. Verb. 판결 등을 유지하다, 확인하다. The Supreme Court voted to uphold the lower court's landmark decision. Impeachment. Noun. 탄핵. The parliament initiated the impeachment proceedings against the corrupt official. Botched. Adjective. 망가진, 실패한. The botched operation resulted in heavy casualties and political fallout. Martial law. Noun. 계엄령. The dictator imposed martial law to suppress the growing democratic protests. Backlash. Noun. 반발, 저항. The controversial policy generated a massive public backlash across the nation. Verdict. Noun. 판결, 평결. The jury reached a guilty verdict after days of intense deliberation. Directive. Noun. 지시, 명령. The executive board issued a new directive concerning corporate governance. Mandate. Noun. 명령, 권한, 지시. The newly elected government claimed a strong mandate for radical reform. Accountability. Noun. 책임, 의무. Transparency and accountability are the fundamental pillars of any democracy. 시사용어 해설. Impeachment, 탄핵. 고위공직자가 직무수행 중 중대한 헌법이나 법률 위반을 저질렀을 때 의회의 소추와 헌법재판소의 심판을 통해 직위를 박탈하는 제도입니다. 권력남용을 전제하는 핵심 민주주의 장치입니다. Martial law, 계엄령.
국가 비상사태 시 군사력을 동원하여 치안을 유지하고 사법권 및 행정권의 일부를 군대가 행사하도록 하는 조치입니다. 해당 기사에서는 윤 전 대통령의 무리한 계엄령 선포가 헌정 질서를 파괴한 것으로 평가되어 탄핵의 핵심 사유가 되었음을 명시하고 있습니다.
2.2. Extreme heat poses significant risk to 2026 World Cup matches. As the expanded 2026 FIFA World Cup officially gets underway, meteorologists and sporting officials are raising serious concerns about the severe risk posed by extreme heatwave conditions. Recent environmental data visualizations indicate that several host cities across North America are experiencing unprecedented high-temperature anomalies. The exacerbating effects of a strong El Niño weather pattern have pushed local climates into dangerously hot territories, directly threatening the physical well-being of both athletes and spectators. Analyses of previous tournaments suggest that such oppressive heat severely impacts passing clusters, shot frequencies, and overall player endurance. In response, FIFA and local organizing committees are urgently evaluating contingency protocols, including mandatory cooling breaks and potential schedule modifications. The technological deployment of advanced cooling gear, such as Adidas's ClimaCool system, has become a necessity rather than a mere innovation. Environmental scientists warn that these extreme weather events reflect broader global climate shifts that will inevitably disrupt future international sporting events. Vocabulary: meteorologist, noun, 기상학자. The meteorologist accurately predicted the sudden shift in the hurricane's path. Anomaly, noun, 이례적인 것, 예외, 이상. Statistical anomalies in the financial report prompted a thorough internal investigation. Exacerbate, verb, 악화시키다. The lack of clear communication only exacerbated the existing tensions between the teams. Oppressive, adjective, 숨막히게 더운, 억압적인. The workers struggled to complete the construction project under the oppressive summer sun. Endurance, noun, 인내력, 지구력. Marathon running requires incredible physical and mental endurance. Contingency, noun, 만일의 사태, 비상대책. The management team developed a strict contingency plan in case of a sudden market crash. Modification, noun, 수정, 변경. The architect made slight modifications to the blueprint to accommodate the new regulations. Deployment, noun, 배치, 전개, 도입. The rapid deployment of emergency medical supplies saved countless lives in the disaster zone. Inevitably, adverb, 불가피하게, 필연적으로. The continuous reliance on fossil fuels will inevitably lead to severe environmental consequences. Disrupt, verb, 방해하다, 지장을 주다. The prolonged transit strike severely disrupted the city's daily commute. 지역서울 해설, 엘니뇨, 엘니뇨. 적도 부근 태평양 해수면 온도가 평년보다 높아지는 현상으로 전 세계적으로 폭우, 가뭄, 폭염 등 기상이변을 유발합니다. 이는 농산물 작황에 영향을 미쳐 식량 가격 상승, 에그플레이션 등 경제적 타격으로 이어집니다. Contingency protocol, 비상 프로토콜, 대책. 예상치 못한 위기 상황이나 재난이 발생했을 때 조직이나 시스템이 정상적으로 기능할 수 있도록 미리 마련해두는 행동 지침 및 계획입니다. 2-3. India experiences severe warming amid global climate crisis. India is currently grappling with a severe and widespread heat wave as regions stretching from Delhi to Chennai report dangerously high temperature anomalies. Climatologists analyzing the latest meteorological data have highlighted a disturbing trend of mean temperature variations that are drastically altering the subcontinent's climate patterns. The intensifying effects of the upcoming El Niño event are projected to exacerbate these harsh conditions, pushing the mercury to unprecedented and lethal levels. This extreme warming presents a multifaceted crisis, directly threatening the health, livelihoods, and survival of millions of vulnerable citizens working in unconditioned environments. Furthermore, the relentless heat severely disrupts daily economic activities, leading to significant declines in agricultural yields and overall labor productivity. Experts emphasize that localized infrastructure is chronically ill-equipped to handle such persistent extreme weather events. The situation in India serves as a stark warning about the accelerating global climate crisis and the urgent need for comprehensive environmental resilience strategies. Vocabulary: grapple with, verb, 뭐뭐와 씨름하다, 고심하다. The local government continues to grapple with the escalating homelessness crisis. Climatologist, noun, 기후학자. A prominent climatologist warned that sea levels are rising faster than initially predicted. Variation, noun, 변동, 변화. The scientists observed significant genetic variation among the isolated island species. Drastically, adverb, 급격하게, 과감하게. The company's profits dropped drastically following the sudden increase in raw material costs. Lethal. Adjective. 치명적인. The laboratory mishandled a highly lethal virus, sparking a major health investigation. Multifaceted. Adjective. 다면적인. 복합적인. Resolving the urban poverty issue requires a multifaceted approach from policymakers. Vulnerable. Adjective. 취약한. 상처받기 쉬운. The elderly and young children are especially vulnerable to severe respiratory infections. Yield. Noun. 수확량. 산출량. The unprecedented drought resulted in the lowest agricultural yield of the decade. Chronically. Adverb. 만성적으로. The healthcare system in the rural province has been chronically underfunded for years. Resilience. Noun. 회복력. 탄성. The coastal city demonstrated remarkable resilience by rebuilding swiftly after the typhoon. 시사용어 해설. Labor productivity. 노동 생산성. 근로자 1인이 일정 시간 동안 산출하는 생산물의 양이나 부가가치를 의미합니다. 극한의 폭염은 야외 노동자들의 작업 시간을 단축시키고 피로도를 극대화하여 국가 경제 전체의 생산성을 심각하게 저하시킵니다. Infrastructure. 인프라. 기반시설. 도로, 전력, 수도망 등 사회와 경제가 원활하게 작동하기 위해 필수적인 기초 물리적 구조물을 뜻합니다. 폭염으로 인해 전력망에 과부하가 걸리거나 도로가 파손되는 등 인프라의 붕괴는 2차적인 경제적 피해를 야기합니다.
3. ABC Australia. 3. 3-1. England secures dominant victory over Sri Lanka in Women's T20 World Cup. The 2026 ICC Women's T20 World Cup group stage commenced with a spectacular display of cricketing prowess as the England women's national team secured a commanding 8-1 win victory over Sri Lanka at Edgbaston Stadium. Sri Lanka won the initial toss and strategically opted to bowl first, a decision they quickly regretted as the English batters unleashed a relentless offensive assault. England posted an imposing total of 219 runs for the loss of just one wicket within their allotted 20 overs, establishing an almost insurmountable target. In response, the Sri Lankan batting lineup struggled significantly under the pressure of England's disciplined and aggressive bowling attack, ultimately being restricted to a mere 132 runs. The standout performance came from Danny Wyatt-Hodge, whose explosive and calculated batting earned her the well-deserved title of Player of the Match. This emphatic opening victory sends a strong warning to the rest of the tournament competitors regarding England's championship aspirations. Sports analysts note that England's balanced squad perfectly positions them to dominate the remainder of the group stages. Vocabulary. Prowess. Noun. 기량, 솜씨. The gymnast demonstrated exceptional physical prowess during her routine. Unleash. Verb. 촉발시키다. 강력한 것을 풀다. The controversial reform unleashed a wave of furious protests across the nation. Relentless. Adjective. 끈질긴, 가차없는. The team's relentless pursuit of perfection finally resulted in a championship title. Imposing. Adjective. 인상적인, 압도적인. The ancient cathedral stands as an imposing presence in the center of the city. Insurmountable. Adjective. 극복할 수 없는. Despite the lack of funding, the researchers proved that the challenge was not insurmountable. Disciplined. Adjective. 훈련받은, 규율 잡힌. The military requires a highly disciplined approach to handle complex tactical scenarios. Restrict. Verb. 제한하다, 묶어두다. The government decided to strictly restrict foreign investments in critical tech sectors. Emphatic. Adjective. 단호한, 확실한. The voters delivered an emphatic rejection of the proposed tax increase. Aspiration. Noun. 열망, 포부. Her ultimate career aspiration is to become the chief executive of a global tech firm. Dominate. Verb. 지배하다, 압도적으로 우세하다. The multinational corporation continues to completely dominate the global telecommunications market. 시사 용어 해설. T20, 2020. 크리켓의 경기 방식 중 하나로 각 팀이 20 over, 1 over는 6구씩만 공격하는 가장 짧고 박진감 넘치는 형태입니다. 경기 시간이 짧아 상업적 가치가 높으며 전 세계적으로 가장 인기 있는 포맷입니다. 그룹 스테이지, 조별 리그. 모든 출전팀이 몇 개의 그룹으로 나뉘어 서로 경기를 치르는 토너먼트의 예선 단계입니다. 상위 팀들이 다음 라운드로 진출하며 조기 탈락을 면하기 위해 첫 경기의 승리가 매우 중요합니다.
3-1. United States defeats Paraguay 3-1 in thrilling World Cup clash. The United States men's national soccer team opened their 2026 FIFA World Cup campaign with a commanding 3-1 victory over Paraguay in a pulsating Group D encounter at Los Angeles Stadium. The host nation benefited from an incredibly fortunate start when Paraguayan midfielder Damian Bobadilla accidentally conceded an own goal in the 6th minute. Capitalizing on this early momentum, American forward Folarin Balogun unleashed a devastating offensive performance, netting 2 spectacular goals in the 30th and 45th minutes to give his team a comfortable halftime lead. Despite facing a significant deficit, the Paraguayan squad demonstrated commendable resilience, eventually breaking through the U.S. defense when Mauricio scored a well-executed goal in the 72nd minute. However, the American midfield, anchored by captain Tyler Adams, expertly controlled the tempo and stifled any further threats during the remainder of the match. The physical intensity of the fixture was reflected in the distribution of 4 yellow cards across both squads. This emphatic win establishes the United States as a formidable contender within their highly competitive group stage block. Vocabulary: pulsating, adjective, 흥분되는, 박동하는. The crowd went wild during the pulsating final minutes of the championship game. Encounter, noun, verb, 만남, 맞대결. The unexpected encounter with the hostile forces quickly escalated into a full battle. Concede, verb, 허용하다, 인정하다. The defending champion was forced to concede defeat after a brutal 10-round match. Devastating, adjective, 파괴적인, 압도적인. The hurricane dealt a devastating blow to the island's crucial tourism industry. Deficit, noun, 적자, 부족액, 점수 등의 열세. The government is implementing strict austerity measures to reduce the massive budget deficit. Commendable, adjective, 칭찬할 만한. Her commendable dedication to the charity project inspired many others to volunteer. Anchor, verb, 기반을 두다, 닻을 내리다, 중심을 잡다. The stable banking sector helped to firmly anchor the nation's fragile economic recovery. Stifle, verb, 억누르다, 질식시키다. The authoritarian regime attempted to violently stifle any dissenting political voices. Intensity, noun, 강렬함, 강도. The sheer intensity of the professor's lecture kept all the students completely captivated. Contender, noun, 경쟁자, 도전자. The young athlete quickly emerged as a serious contender for the Olympic gold medal. 시사용어 해설, campaign. 정치 분야에서는 선거운동을 의미하지만 군사나 스포츠 분야에서는 특정 목표를 달성하기 위해 1년에 계획된 활동이나 시즌 전체의 경기 일정을 의미합니다. 월드컵 우승을 향한 여정을 캠페인으로 표현했습니다. Deficit, 적자, 열세. 경제학에서는 지출이 수입보다 많은 재정 적자를 의미하며 스포츠에서는 상대팀보다 점수가 뒤지고 있는 불리한 상황, 열세를 뜻합니다. Number 3. Australia prepares to face Turkey in critical World Cup fixture. The global soccer spotlight is intensely focused on BC Place in Vancouver as the Australian national team finalizes preparations to face Turkey in a highly consequential Group D World Cup fixture. Scheduled for June 13, this critical encounter is widely viewed by pundits as a pivotal juncture that will likely determine which nation secures a coveted spot in the knockout stages. The Australian squad, affectionately known as the Socceroos, enters the match relying heavily on their physically robust defensive structure and disciplined tactical organization. Conversely, the Turkish team poses a significant threat through their swift counterattacking capabilities and the creative flair of their agile midfield roster. Both managers have emphasized the absolute necessity of minimizing unforced errors, recognizing that even minor defensive lapses could prove fatal in such a high-stakes environment. A victory here is not merely about accumulating points. It provides an essential psychological advantage required to navigate the grueling tournament schedule. Fans traveling from both continents are expected to create a vibrant and deeply polarized atmosphere within the Canadian stadium. Vocabulary. Consequential. Adjective. 결과가 중대한, 중요한. The summit's decisions will have highly consequential impacts on global trade policies. Pundit. Noun. 전문가, 권위자. Several political pundits wrongly predicted the surprising outcome of the recent election. Pivotal. Adjective. 중추적인, 대단히 중요한. The discovery of the new energy source played a pivotal role in industrial advancement. Coveted. Adjective. 탐내는, 선망하는. He finally won the highly coveted award for his exceptional contributions to science. Robust. Adjective. 튼튼한, 강력한. The software is built with a highly robust security framework to prevent cyber attacks. Conversely. Adverb. 정반대로, 역으로. Wealth does not automatically guarantee happiness. Conversely, poverty does not assure misery. Flair. Noun. 재주, 솜씨. The young designer exhibited a unique creative flair that set her completely apart. Lapse. Noun. 실수, 깜빡함, 경과. A momentary lapse in judgment led to the devastating failure of the entire project. Grueling. Adjective. 몹시 힘든, 녹초로 만드는. The elite soldiers underwent a grueling 6-month training program in the harsh desert. Polarized. Adjective. 양극화된. The new socio-economic policy has created a deeply polarized debate among the citizens. 시사용어 해설. Knockout stage. 결선 토너먼트. 조별 예선전. 그룹 스테이지를 통과한 팀들이 진출하며 패배하는 즉시 대회에서 탈락하는 방식의 승자 진출전. 16강, 8강 등을 의미합니다. 한 경기의 결과가 치명적이므로 긴장감이 극대화됩니다. 하이 스테이크스, 판돈이 큰, 위험 보상이 큰. 원래 도박에서 판돈이 크다는 뜻이나 경제나 정치, 스포츠에서 실패할 경우 잃을 것이 매우 많고 성공할 경우 얻을 것이 막대한, 중대한 상황을 묘사할 때 자주 쓰이는 표현입니다.
4. The Korea Times. 4. The Korea Times. 4-1. BTS marks 13th anniversary with Arirang World Tour finale in Busan. Global cultural juggernaut BTS is currently transforming the southeastern port city of Busan into a massive epicenter of celebration to mark their 13th debut anniversary. Commemorating this significant milestone, the iconic septet is hosting 2 highly anticipated, sold-out stadium concerts at the Busan Asiad Main Stadium as the grand finale of their extensive Arirang World Tour. This monumental reunion holds immense emotional weight as it signifies the group's first full-scale global tour following the successful completion of the members' mandatory military service. Spanning an impressive 85 shows across 34 international cities, the tour highlights the unyielding devotion of their global fan base, ARMY, whose appetite was only sharpened by the group's nearly 4-year collective hiatus. Concurrent with the stadium performances, the band kicked off the 2026 BTS Festa, an annual 2-week festival delivering rare digital content and intimate documentaries to their loyal followers. As a special commemorative gift, HYBE released a highly personal, limited edition vinyl record that captures the members' unvarnished camaraderie and deep reflections on the isolating pressures of global fame. Vocabulary. Juggernaut. Noun. 거대한 파괴력, 압도적인 힘, 존재. The tech corporation has become an unstoppable juggernaut in the global market. Epicenter. Noun. 중심점, 진원지. The financial district serves as the epicenter of the country's economic activity. Commemorate. Verb. 기념하다, 축하하다. The monument was erected to commemorate the soldiers who fell in the war. Septet. Noun. 7인조. The talented jazz septet delivered an unforgettable performance at the theater. Mandatory. Adjective. 의무적인, 강제적인. Attendance at the safety briefing is strictly mandatory for all new employees. Unyielding. Adjective. 굽히지 않는, 확고한. The leader's unyielding commitment to justice inspired a generation of young activists. Hiatus. Noun. 공백기, 중단. Following a 3-year hiatus, the band returned with a critically acclaimed album. Concurrent with adjective. 와 동시에 발생하는.
The economic collapse was concurrent with a severe and unprecedented global pandemic. Unvarnished. Adjective. 꾸밈 없는, 있는 그대로의. The biography provides an unvarnished account of the politician's controversial career. Camaraderie. Noun. 동지애, 우정. The intense training camp fostered a deep sense of camaraderie among the athletes. 시사용어 해설. soft power, soft power. 군사력 hard power와 대비되는 개념으로 문화, 예술, 가치관 등의 매력을 통해 타국에 긍정적인 영향력을 행사하고 자국의 외교적, 경제적 이익을 창출하는 능력을 의미합니다. K-팝의 성공은 대한민국 소프트 파워의 가장 대표적인 사례입니다. Vinyl record, 바이닐 레코드, LP. 디지털 스트리밍 시대에 아날로그적 감성을 제공하며 팬들의 높은 소장 욕구를 자극하는 실문 음반 매체입니다. 엔터테인먼트 산업에서는 핵심 굿즈이자 고부가 가치 수익 창출원으로 활용됩니다.
4.2. BTS The City. Project transforms Busan into an interactive cultural hub. Beyond the confines of the concert stadium, Hybe Management has masterfully orchestrated BTS The City Orion Busan, a comprehensive urban cultural project that essentially transforms the entire port city into an interactive, immersive fan experience. Major civic landmarks, pristine beaches, and bustling commercial districts have been systematically enveloped in BTS-themed visual infrastructure. For instance, a massive curved LED media display on the exterior of the Grand Joseon Hotel continually broadcasts the group's promotional content, serving as a vibrant, unofficial gathering hub for international army members. The expansive initiative also features spectacular drone lighting shows illuminating the iconic Gwangan Bridge and welcome centers strategically placed to guide visiting tourists. Busan holds deep, intrinsic value for the band and its followers, as it is the cherished hometown of members Jimin and Jungkook, adding a profoundly symbolic full-circle moment to the anniversary celebrations. Economic analysts strongly assert that this seamless integration of a megastar music event with citywide tourism infrastructure exemplifies the unparalleled economic potency of modern K-pop soft power. Vocabulary. Confines. Noun. 경계, 한계, 범위. She felt claustrophobic within the narrow confines of the small submarine. Orchestrate. Verb. 조직하다, 조율하다. The rebels meticulously orchestrated a complex cyber attack against the grid. Immersive. Adjective. 몰입형에 애워싸는. The new virtual reality headset provides a completely immersive gaming experience. Pristine. Adjective. 자연 그대로에 오염되지 않은. The conservation group works tirelessly to protect the island's pristine coral reefs. Envelop. Verb. 감싸다, 뒤덮다. Thick morning fog began to envelop the entire coastal village, reducing visibility. Initiative. Noun. 주도권. 새로운 계획. Project. The city council launched a new green initiative to reduce plastic waste drastically. Intrinsic. Adjective. 고유한, 본질적인. The antique pocket watch has deep intrinsic value beyond its actual material worth. Seamless. Adjective. 매끄러운, 이음새 없는. The software update ensures seamless integration between desktop and mobile devices. Unparalleled. Adjective. 비할 데 없는, 전례 없는. The athlete's unparalleled dedication to training set her apart from all competitors. Potency. Noun. 효력, 잠재력, 힘. The diplomatic strategy relies heavily on the economic potency of the allied nations. 시사 용어 해설. 어번 컬처럴 프로젝트, 도시문화 프로젝트. 특정 이벤트나 축제를 단순히 경기장 내부에 국한하지 않고 도시 전체의 상권, 숙박, 교통 등과 연계하여 지역 경제 활성화를 도모하는 기획입니다. 이는 엔터테인먼트 산업과 도시 재생, 관광 산업의 시너지를 극대화하는 경제 모델입니다. 시너지 이펙트, 시너지 효과. 2개 이상의 요소가 결합하여 개별 요소의 합보다 훨씬 더 큰 결과를 창출하는 현상을 뜻합니다. 콘서트표 판매 수익뿐만 아니라 숙박, 외식, 교통 등 지역 상권 전체가 누리는 파급 효과가 이에 해당합니다. 4.3. BTS Busan concert streamed live at cinemas across 80 countries. In a massive display of their unparalleled global reach, BTS's highly anticipated Arirang World Tour concert in Busan will be broadcast live to movie theaters worldwide. Big Hit Music confirmed that the second night of the sold-out stadium shows, coinciding precisely with the group's 13th debut anniversary, will be streamed directly from the Busan Asiad main stadium. This ambitious live viewing event is slated to take place across more than 3,800 theatrical screens in over 80 distinct countries and regions. By leveraging advanced high-definition streaming technology, the agency aims to offer fans an immersive, shared concert experience that gracefully transcends geographical limitations. Within South Korea, the spectacular performance will be readily available at major multiplex cinema chains, including CGV, Lot Cinema, and Megabox. Due to inevitable time zone differences, enthusiastic audiences situated in North America, South America, and Europe will have access to delayed screenings, scheduled within 1 to 2 days post-concert. Analysts perceive this strategy as an exceptionally lucrative method to monetize live events beyond physical stadium capacities. Vocabulary: unparalleled, adjective, 비할 데 없는, 전례 없는. The company achieved unparalleled growth in the highly competitive smartphone market. Coincide with, verb, 뭐뭐와 동시에 일어나다, 일치하다. Her sudden promotion coincided perfectly with the retirement of the senior manager. Slate, verb, 일정을 계획하다, 예정하다. The highly anticipated sequel is currently slated for a global release next summer. Leverage, verb, 지렛대로 사용하다, 활용하다. The startup aims to aggressively leverage artificial intelligence to improve customer service. Transcend, verb, 초월하다, 넘어서다. True masterpieces of art are able to transcend cultural and linguistic boundaries. Inevitable, adjective, 불가피한, 필연적인. The rapid advancement of automation makes significant job market disruptions inevitable. Enthusiastic, adjective, 열렬한, 열성적인. The proposal was met with an incredibly enthusiastic response from the entire team. Perceive, verb, 인지하다, 인식하다. The new tax regulations were perceived by many small businesses as deeply unfair. Lucrative, adjective, 수익성 있는, 돈벌이가 되는. The pharmaceutical company secured a highly lucrative contract to supply the new vaccine. Monetize, verb, 수익화하다, 돈으로 바꾸다. Influencers are constantly finding innovative new ways to monetize their large social media followings. 시사 용어 해설, live viewing, 라이브 뷰잉. 실제 공연장이나 스포츠 경기장에 가지 못하는 관객들을 위해 영화관 등의 대형 스크린 시설을 갖춘 장소에서 위성이나 인터넷망을 통해 실시간으로 현장을 중계하는 비즈니스 모델입니다. 모니타이즈, 수익화하다. 특정 자산이나 서비스, 지적 재산권, IP 등을 활용하여 실제 금전적인 수입을 창출하는 과정을 의미합니다. 엔터테인먼트 기업이 물리적 티켓 판매의 한계를 넘어 디지털 중계권으로 수익을 극대화하는 행위를 설명합니다.
5. The Korea Herald. 5. The Korea Herald. 5-1. Ex-President Yoon Suk-yeol sentenced to 30 years for drone operations. In a devastating legal blow, a Seoul District Court has delivered a seismic ruling, sentencing former South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol to 30 years in prison for orchestrating illicit drone infiltrations into North Korea. The judiciary determined that the covert October 2024 operations were deliberately designed to provoke a retaliatory military response from Pyongyang. Prosecutors successfully argued that this dangerous military escalation was a meticulously orchestrated pretext intended to justify Yoon's highly controversial emergency martial law declaration later in December. The court explicitly found Yoon guilty of engaging in general enemy-benefiting activities, classifying the reckless act as a severe crime against state security. Legal observers strongly underscore that this ruling marks the first instance in South Korea's complex constitutional history where a former head of state has been definitively convicted of an external security offense. Former Defense Minister Kim Yong-hyun, who executed the operational commands, also received a 30-year sentence for blatant abuse of authority and aiding an adversary. The unprecedented verdict not only finalizes Yoon's profound political downfall, but also establishes a rigid judicial boundary regarding presidential powers. Vocabulary. Seismic. Adjective. 지진에 엄청난 파장을 미치는. The unexpected resignation of the CEO caused a seismic shift in the market. Orchestrate. Verb. 조직하다, 비밀리에 기획하다. The rebels meticulously orchestrated a complex cyber attack against the grid. Infiltration. Noun. 침투, 잠입. The intelligence agency detected foreign infiltration within their classified networks. Retaliatory. Adjective. 보복적인. The nation launched a retaliatory strike following the unprovoked border skirmish. Escalation. Noun. 단계적 확대, 긴장 등의 고조. Diplomatic interventions are necessary to prevent further escalation of the conflict. Pretext. Noun. 구시, 핑계. The territorial dispute was merely a pretext for initiating a full-scale invasion. Justify. Verb. 정당화하다. The manager struggled to justify the excessive expenditures during the financial audit. Enemy benefiting. Adjective. 이적에, 적을 이롭게 하는 행위. Engaging in enemy benefiting activities during wartime is considered high treason. Blatant. Adjective. 노골적인, 뻔뻔스러운. The official was fired for his blatant disregard of the company's safety regulations. Downfall. Noun. 몰락, 파멸. The massive corruption scandal ultimately led to the swift downfall of the administration. General enemy benefiting activities. 일반 이적죄. 적국과 직접 공모하지 않더라도 국가의 군사적 이익을 해치거나 적국의 군사적 이익을 제공하는 행위를 처벌하는 형법상 중범죄입니다. 법원은 무인기 도발이 북한의 역도발을 유도하여 대한민국의 안보를 위협했다고 판단했습니다. Emergency Martial Law, 비상계엄. 전시, 사병 또는 이에 준하는 국가 비상사태 시 병력을 동원하여 치안을 유지하고 사법권 및 행정권의 일부를 군대가 통제하도록 하는 조치입니다. 무인기 사태가 이 계엄령을 발동시키기 위한 명분, 프리텍스트 조장용이었다는 점이 판결의 핵심입니다. 5-2. Drone operation verdict casts shadow over inter-Korean ties. The Seoul court's landmark decision to sentence former President Yoon to 30 years in prison has cast a profound new light on the broader afterlife of the illicit drone operations, extending far beyond mere questions of criminal liability. Geopolitical analysts emphasize that the key question now is how this unprecedented judicial revelation will subsequently impact the deeply strained inter-Korean relations. There is a significant risk that North Korea will aggressively leverage the court's findings to shape its hostile narrative, portraying the South Korean conservative establishment as reckless warmongers who deliberately fabricated military tensions for domestic political survival. The fact that a sitting president attempted to intentionally provoke an armed response from a volatile nuclear-armed adversary severely damages Seoul's diplomatic credibility on the global stage. Consequently, the incoming transitional government faces the monumental and daunting task of rebuilding shattered diplomatic trust. Policymakers must urgently implement transparent crisis management frameworks to ensure that such catastrophic political manipulations of national security can never occur again. 5-3. Hybe apologizes for delay on first night of BTS World Tour in Busan. Hybe Corporation, the powerhouse agency managing the global K-pop sensation BTS, has issued a formal public apology following a significant delay during the opening night of the group's Arirang World Tour in Busan. The highly anticipated Friday concert was originally scheduled to commence precisely at 7 p.m., but was unexpectedly pushed back by approximately 75 minutes, finally beginning at 8:15 p.m. The frustrating delay was primarily caused by severe logistical bottlenecks during the entry process, as the venue staff struggled to efficiently manage the sudden influx of tens of thousands of enthusiastic fans. In an official notice posted on the global fandom platform Weverse, the agency expressed its deepest regrets for the massive inconvenience caused to the audience members who had traveled from all over the world. Furthermore, Hybe management solemnly pledged to substantially bolster overall on-site operations and streamline security protocols. These immediate corrective measures are aimed at preventing any similar recurrences during the second and final concert scheduled to take place in the port city later on Saturday. Vocabulary. Sensation. Noun. Sensation. 돌풍을 일으키는 사람. 것. The young author became an overnight sensation after her debut novel went viral. Commence. Verb. 시작되다. 개시하다. The graduation ceremony will commence once all the distinguished guests have arrived. Approximately. Adverb. 대략. 약. The flight from New York to London will take approximately 7 hours to complete. Bottleneck. Noun. 병목 현상. 장애물. The outdated software system created a massive bottleneck in the daily data processing activities. Influx. Noun. 유입. 쇄도. The small coastal town experiences a huge influx of tourists during the summer months. Enthusiastic. Adjective. 열성적인. 열광적인. The professor appreciated the highly enthusiastic participation of the students during the seminar. Inconvenience. Noun. 불편. 애로사항. We sincerely apologize for any inconvenience caused by the temporary network outage. Solemnly. Adverb. 엄숙하게. 진지하게. The newly elected president solemnly swore to uphold and defend the national constitution. Bolster. Verb. 강화하다. 지지하다. The government introduced significant tax incentives to bolster the rapidly failing economy. Recurrence. Noun. 재발. 반복. The patient was prescribed daily medication to effectively prevent the recurrence of the infection. Logistical bottleneck. 물류 운영 병목 현상. 물이 병의 좁은 목, bottleneck을 지날 때 유속이 느려지는 것처럼 전체 시스템의 처리 용량이 한 특정 구간의 한계 때문에 지연되는 현상을 말합니다. 대형 콘서트에서 수만 명이 좁은 게이트로 동시에 입장하려 할 때 발생하는 병목 현상을 묘사합니다. streamline. 간소화하다, 능유화하다. 조직의 구조나 작업의 절차 등을 단순하게 만들어 효율성을 높이는 경제 경영 용어입니다. 하이브가 둘째 날 공연을 위해 입장 절차를 개선하겠다는 약속을 표현할 때 사용되었습니다. 6. CGTN. 6. CGTN. 6-1. High-tech innovations define the 2026 World Cup experience. The 2026 World Cup, seamlessly co-hosted across North America, is currently being lauded by industry experts as the most technology-drenched tournament in the vast history of global football. For the very first time in a men's World Cup, all 104 matches are aggressively utilizing advanced semi-automated offside technology, SEAT. This intricate system relies on 12 dedicated tracking cameras that precisely capture 50 specific data points per second from each player, dramatically narrowing the margin of human error. Furthermore, Adidas has introduced the revolutionary Trianda match ball, which contains a sophisticated 500 Hz motion sensor requiring pre-match charging to seamlessly transmit real-time telemetry data. To aggressively combat severe summer temperatures exceeding 38 degrees Celsius, athletes are uniquely equipped with cutting-edge ClimaCool technology, an innovation borrowed directly from Formula One racing. This pre-frozen gel apparel effectively lowers a player's core body temperature, safely mitigating the hazardous impacts of extreme heat. Additionally, the widespread implementation of lightweight ref cams mounted on officials provides unprecedented transparency regarding on-pitch disciplinary decisions. Vocabulary. drenched, adjective, 흠뻑 젖은, 기술 등이 집중, 집약된. The futuristic city is drenched in neon lights and cutting-edge digital advertisements. Intricate, adjective, 복잡한, 정교한. The watchmaker carefully assembled the intricate gears of the mechanical timepiece. Margin, noun, 여백, 차이, 오차범위. The incumbent mayor won the tightly contested election by a remarkably narrow margin. Telemetry, noun, 원격 측정술. The satellite constantly streams essential telemetry data back to the central command center. Combat, verb,
싸우다, 방지하다. The local government introduced strict regulations to combat the rising levels of air pollution. Apparel, noun. 이복, 의류. The athletic brand launched a new line of breathable apparel designed for extreme sports. Core, noun. Adjective. 핵심, 중심, 신부의. Maintaining a stable core body temperature is vital for athletes performing in extreme heat. Mitigate, verb. 완화하다, 경감시키다. The new environmental policy aims to mitigate the devastating effects of rapid climate change. Hazardous, adjective. 위험해. Exposure to hazardous chemicals without proper protective gear can lead to severe illness. Transparency, noun. 투명성. The auditor praised the corporation for maintaining complete transparency in its financial reporting. Semi-automated offside technology, SAOT, 반자동 오프사이드 판독 기술. 경기장 지붕에 설치된 다수의 카메라가 공과 선수의 움직임을 실시간 3D로 추적해 오프사이드 여부를 인공지능이 즉각적으로 판단하고 심판에게 알리는 첨단 기술입니다. 오심 논란을 줄여 경기의 공정성을 극대화합니다. 텔레메트리 데이터, 원격 측정 데이터. 센서를 통해 멀리 떨어진 대상의 상태, 이동 궤적, 가속도, 충격량 등을 측정하고 무선으로 전송하는 기술입니다. 공인구 내부에 탑재된 센서가 이 데이터를 VAR, 비디오 판독실로 초당 500회 전송하여 오프사이드 판독을 지원합니다.
6.2. CMG warns against unauthorized 2026 World Cup broadcasts in China. China Media Group, CMG, has issued a stringent and highly publicized copyright protection statement just days ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The broadcasting giant firmly reaffirmed its exclusive multimedia rights and sublicensing authority for the highly anticipated tournament across the entire Chinese mainland. According to the official mandate, CMG has specifically authorized digital platforms like China Mobile's Migu and Xiaohongshu to provide legal live streams, while explicitly prohibiting any unapproved broadcasts. The network sternly warned that unauthorized organizations or individuals caught distributing World Cup matches via television, internet platforms, IPTV, or mobile applications will face severe legal repercussions. This strict prohibition extends to the creation of derivative digital content, including GIFs, audio clips, and unauthorized social media memes utilizing the official broadcast signals. Furthermore, CMG has vowed to aggressively prosecute entities engaging in ambush marketing or deceptive promotional campaigns that falsely claim association with the tournament. To ensure compliance, CMG's executive office has launched a dedicated large-scale enforcement campaign tailored specifically to protect its massive financial investment in global sports broadcasting rights. Vocabulary. Stringent. Adjective. 엄격한, 가혹한. The Food Regulatory Agency enforced highly stringent health standards for all commercial imports. Reaffirm. Verb. 재확인하다. The two nations met to publicly reaffirm their long-standing mutual defense treaty. Exclusive. Adjective. 독점적인, 전용해. The journalist managed to secure a highly exclusive interview with the elusive billionaire. Mandate. Noun. 명령, 지시, 권한. The newly elected government claimed a strong mandate for sweeping economic reform. Prohibit. Verb. 금지하다. The strict city ordinance explicitly prohibits smoking inside all public buildings. Repercussion. Noun. 파장, 영향, 결과. The sudden collapse of the major bank had severe repercussions throughout the global economy. Derivative. Adjective. 파생적인, 파생물. The financial institution suffered heavy losses due to investments in highly risky derivative products. Prosecute. Verb. 기소하다, 고발하다. The district attorney vowed to aggressively prosecute those responsible for the corporate fraud. Deceptive. Adjective. 기만적인, 속이는. The company was heavily fined for running deceptive advertising campaigns targeting the elderly. Compliance. Noun. 준수, 따름. The pharmaceutical factory was shut down for its absolute lack of compliance with safety regulations. 종종어 예상. Sub-licensing. 2차 라이선스나 재판매. 원 저작권자, FIFA로부터 독점 중개권을 기매한 사업자, CMG가 자신이 확보한 권리의 일부, 다른 방송사나 온라인 플랫폼에 다시 돈을 받고 판매하는 권리입니다. 막대한 중개권료를 분담하기 위해 흔히 사용되는 경제적 수단입니다. 엠부시 마케팅, 내복 마케팅. 공식 스폰서가 아니면서도 마치 공식 스폰서인 것처럼 교묘하게 위장하여 광고 효과를 누리는 기만적인 마케팅 기법입니다. 공식 중개권자와 스폰서의 천문학적인 권리금, 투자 가치를 침해하므로 엄격히 단속됩니다. Number 6. 3. Spectacular drone light show illuminates Chongqing's night sky. The dramatic evening skyline of Chongqing, a massive mountainous metropolis in southwestern China, was recently transformed into a spectacular visual canvas during a mesmerizing drone light show. Thousands of intricately synchronized drones took flight simultaneously, splashing vibrant colors across the night sky and forming complex, dynamic, three-dimensional patterns. This elaborate technological performance was carefully orchestrated to coincide with the prestigious 5th CMG Forum held in the city. The international gathering brought together approximately 300 media professionals and academics from around the globe to deeply discuss the rapidly evolving role of media in the era of artificial intelligence. By utilizing cutting-edge swarm robotics and precision navigation algorithms, the drones effortlessly created towering letters and iconic cultural symbols visible for miles. Attendees enthusiastically recorded the breathtaking display, quickly sharing the footage across global social networks. Cultural analysts observe that such grandiose events efficiently demonstrate China's technological prowess, while seamlessly projecting its modern soft power onto the international stage. Vocabulary. Metropolis. Noun. 대도시, 중심지. Tokyo is a bustling metropolis known for its seamless integration of tradition and technology. Mesmerizing. Adjective. 마음을 사로잡는, 매혹적인. The acrobatic troupe delivered a mesmerizing performance that left the audience speechless. Synchronize. Verb. 동기화하다, 동시에 발생하게 하다. The dancers practiced for months to perfectly synchronize their intricate body movements. Elaborate. Adjective. 정교한, 공들인. The chef prepared an elaborate 7-course meal for the highly anticipated charity gala. Orchestrate. Verb. 조직하다, 조율하다. The rebels meticulously orchestrated a complex cyber attack against the national power grid. Swarm. Noun. 때, 군집, 들어온다. A massive swarm of locusts descended upon the farmlands, destroying the entire harvest. Precision. Noun. 정확, 정밀. The surgeon executed the highly delicate procedure with absolute mechanical precision. Breathtaking. Adjective. 숨이 멎을 듯한, 놀라운. Standing at the very edge of the canyon, they enjoyed a truly breathtaking panoramic view. Grandiose. Adjective. 웅장한, 거창한. The dictator's grandiose architectural plans were heavily criticized as a massive waste of funds. Prowess. Noun. 기량, 솜씨, 능력. The gymnast demonstrated exceptional physical prowess during her floor routine. 시사용어 해설. Swarm robotics, 군집 로봇공학. 벌이나 새떼처럼 수많은 로봇들, 드론들이 중앙의 거대한 통제 없이도 서로 간의 통신을 통해 유기적으로 협력하여 하나의 큰 임무를 수행하는 인공지능 제어 기술입니다. 군사 전술 및 화려한 조명쇼에 널리 활용됩니다. Soft power, soft power. 군사력, hard power와 대비되는 개념으로 경제, 외교, 문화적 매력 등을 통해 타국의 생각과 행동을 자국이 원하는 방향으로 이끄는 국가의 영향력을 의미합니다. 드론쇼와 같은 하이테크 행사는 국가 이미지를 제거하는 전형적인 소프트 파워 전략입니다. 7. NHK World Japan. 7.1. Quad foreign ministers announce new maritime security framework. Diplomatic engagement in the Asia-Pacific reached a pivotal moment as the foreign ministers of the Quad Alliance, comprising the United States, India, Japan, and Australia, convened to significantly bolster regional cooperation. Following highly productive multilateral discussions, Japanese Foreign Minister Toshimitsu Motegi, alongside U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and their counterparts, outlined comprehensive strategic outcomes. A major highlight of the summit was the unanimous agreement to launch the Indo-Pacific Maritime Surveillance Initiative, designed to create a transparent, common operating picture across the contested maritime domain. This robust new framework aims to rapidly identify and respond to illicit maritime activities, thereby ensuring the uninterrupted transit of vital global trade. Additionally, the Quad nations pledged to establish an expert panel dedicated to strengthening port infrastructure and securing vulnerable critical mineral supply chains against monopolistic disruptions. Geopolitical analysts perceive this concerted effort as a proactive strategy to firmly counterbalance China's increasingly assertive maritime expansion in the strategic Indo-Pacific corridor. Vocabulary.
convene. Verb. 소집하다, 회합하다. The International Committee will convene next week to discuss immediate climate action. Multilateral. Adjective. 다자간에, 다국적에. The crisis can only be resolved through comprehensive multilateral negotiations among all involved nations. Unanimous. Adjective. 만장일치해. The board of directors reached a completely unanimous decision regarding the merger. Surveillance. Noun. 감시, 감독. The security agency maintained strict round-the-clock surveillance on the suspected terrorist cell. Illicit. Adjective. 불법에, 금지된. The Border Patrol successfully intercepted a massive shipment of illicit narcotics. Uninterrupted. Adjective. 중단 없는, 연속된. The hospital's critical care units rely on a completely uninterrupted external power supply. Vulnerable. Adjective. 취약한, 상처받기 쉬운. The coastal ecosystem remains highly vulnerable to the devastating impacts of oil spills. Monopolistic. Adjective. 독점적인. The government aggressively pursued legal action against the tech giant's monopolistic business practices. Counterbalance. Verb. 균형을 맞추다, 견제하다. The alliance was primarily formed to effectively counterbalance the rising military superpower. Assertive. Adjective. 적극적인, 확신에 찬, 외교적으로 공세적인. The new CEO took an assertive approach to completely restructuring the failing company.
7-2. Japan prepares to face Netherlands in formidable World Cup matchup. The global football community is turning its attention to the sprawling Dallas Stadium in Texas, where the Japanese national team is meticulously preparing to confront the Netherlands in a pivotal Group F World Cup fixture. Scheduled amidst the intense heat of mid-June, this high-stakes encounter is widely regarded as Japan's most formidable hurdle in their arduous quest to advance to the knockout stages. The Samurai Blue, known globally for their disciplined tactical fluidity and relentless physical endurance, face a daunting challenge against the historically dominant European powerhouse. The Dutch squad boasts an intimidating combination of imposing physical stature and swift, highly technical attacking methodologies. Given the unprecedented integration of advanced technologies like semi-automated offside technology, SAOT, in this tournament, defensive lines must operate with absolute mechanical precision. Managers from both sides have drastically optimized their strategic formations to exploit even the slightest vulnerabilities revealed by real-time telemetry data. For Japan, securing even a singular point against such a heavily favored opponent would exponentially increase their mathematical probability of progressing further. Vocabulary. Meticulously. Adverb. 꼼꼼하게, 세심하게. The detective meticulously examined the crime scene for any hidden traces of DNA. Pivotal. Adjective. 중추적인, 대단히 중요한. The discovery of the new energy source played a pivotal role in industrial advancement. Formidable. Adjective. 가공할 만한, 만만치 않은. The seasoned grandmaster remains a formidable opponent for any young chess challenger. Arduous. Adjective. 몹시 힘든, 고된. The explorers finally reached the mountain summit after a deeply arduous 5-day climb. Fluidity. Noun. 유연성, 유동성. The team's remarkable tactical fluidity allowed them to quickly adapt to the opponent's strategy. Daunting. Adjective. 벅찬, 위압적인. Climbing the sheer face of the mountain is a truly daunting task for any alpinist. Intimidating. Adjective. 위협적인, 겁을 주는. The opposing defensive line presented an intimidating physical barrier to the attackers. Exploit. Verb. 공략하다, 부당하게 이용하다. The malicious hackers swiftly exploited a critical vulnerability hidden in the network's code. Exponentially. Adverb. 기하급수적으로. The popularity of the mobile application grew exponentially after the celebrity endorsement. Progress. Verb. Noun. 진출하다, 나아가다. The ambitious startup continues to systematically progress toward its ultimate revenue goals. 시사 용어 해설. High stakes. 위험 보상이 큰. 실패하면 16강 탈락이라는 큰 타격을 입지만 성공하면 엄청난 이익, 다음 라운드 진출이라는 엄청난 이익을 얻는 중대한 갈림길에 선 상황을 묘사할 때 자주 쓰입니다. Telemetry data, 원격 측정 데이터.
축구공 내부의 센서나 선수들의 착용 장비를 통해 실시간으로 전송되는 위치, 속도, 방향 등의 데이터입니다. 현대 스포츠에서는 단순한 체력을 넘어 이러한 빅데이터를 착취, 공략하는 능력이 승패의 경제적, 스포츠적 가치를 결정짓습니다.
7.3. Asian markets react to SpaceX's historic $75 billion IPO. The financial aftershocks of SpaceX's historic $75 billion initial public offering on the NASDAQ have violently reverberated across global financial hubs, particularly energizing Asian markets. The unprecedented flotation, which instantaneously minted CEO Elon Musk as the world's very first trillionaire, triggered a massive surge in investor appetite for commercial aerospace ventures. Across Asian trading floors, including Japan's influential Nikkei index, stocks closely tied to satellite communications, precision engineering, and artificial intelligence experienced robust simultaneous rallies. Market analysts emphasize that this landmark IPO signifies a permanent structural shift from government-monopolized space exploration to a dynamic, privately funded new space ecosystem. By aggressively injecting purely private capital into deep space ambitions, such as lunar colonization and Martian logistics, SpaceX has validated the commercial viability of the cosmos. Asian tech conglomerates are now scrambling to secure lucrative subcontracts and aggressively form strategic partnerships within Musk's rapidly expanding supply chain. Consequently, this massive influx of capital is expected to radically accelerate technological innovation across the entire Asia-Pacific region. Books. Aftershock. Noun. 여진. 정치, 경제적 큰 파장. The unexpected bankruptcy caused massive economic aftershocks throughout the global banking system. Reverberate. Verb. 반향을 일으키다, 울리다. The devastating news of the political assassination reverberated across the entire continent. Flotation. Noun. 상장, 공개. The tech startup's highly anticipated flotation on the stock market was immensely successful. Instantaneously. Adverb. 즉각적으로, 단숨에. The newly installed software processes complex data calculations almost instantaneously. Rally. Noun, verb. 반등, 상승세. Encouraging economic data sparked a massive afternoon rally in the stock market. Monopoly. Noun. 독점. The telecommunications giant was accused of maintaining an illegal monopoly in the regional market. Viability. Noun. 타당성, 실행 가능성. The committee questioned the long-term financial viability of the proposed infrastructure project. Cosmos. Noun. 우주. Telescopes allow scientists to gaze deeper into the dark, uncharted regions of the cosmos. Conglomerate. Noun. 거대 복합기업, 대기업. The multinational conglomerate completely diversified its portfolio to mitigate economic risks. Subcontract. Noun, verb. 하청계약, 임했다. The main construction firm decided to subcontract the specialized electrical work to a smaller agency. IPO, Initial Public Offering, 기업 공개. 기업이 외부 일반 투자자들에게 주식을 처음으로 판매하여 주식시장에 상장하는 절차입니다. SpaceX가 750억 달러를 조달한 것은 역사상 전무후무한 규모로 평가받습니다. New Space. 과거 나사와 같은 국가기관이 막대한 세금을 들여 주도했던 올드스페이스와 달리 SpaceX처럼 상업적 이윤을 추구하는 민간 기업이 주도하는 우주 산업의 새로운 패러다임을 뜻하는 경제 용어입니다. 8. Al Jazeera. 8.1. Tensions mount as U.S. covertly navigates Iranian blockade in Hormuz. Geopolitical friction in the increasingly volatile Middle East has reached a critical, highly dangerous juncture following a series of retaliatory strikes exchanged between the United States and Iran. In a drastic escalation, Tehran moved swiftly to unilaterally shut down the Strait of Hormuz, an absolutely vital maritime choke point that routinely facilitates the daily transit of 20% of the world's global energy supplies. The initial shockwaves of this aggressive closure sent international Brent crude oil prices soaring uncontrollably above $100 per barrel. Despite Iran's stringent, heavily armed naval blockade targeting U.S. and Israeli-aligned commercial vessels, President Donald Trump recently made a deeply controversial public assertion. Speaking from the Oval Office, Trump claimed that American naval forces had successfully and covertly smuggled over 100 million barrels of crude oil directly out of the heavily restricted region. This clandestine maneuver, according to the White House narrative, successfully stabilized global benchmarks back down to a more manageable $90 per barrel. However, international energy analysts remain highly skeptical of these astronomical figures, warning that this militarized maritime standoff creates a profoundly precarious environment for fragile global supply chains. Vocabulary: friction, noun, 마찰, 갈등. Ongoing trade disputes have caused significant diplomatic friction between the two superpowers. Retaliatory, adjective, 보복적인. The military responded with severe retaliatory strikes against the terrorist strongholds. Unilaterally, adverb, 일방적으로. The executive board unilaterally decided to slash the budget without consulting the staff. Choke point, noun, 병목 구간, 전략적 요충지. The Suez Canal remains a highly vulnerable choke point for international maritime trade. Facilitate, verb, 촉진하다, 가능하게 하다. The new digital platform will greatly facilitate smooth communication among remote employees. Stringent, adjective, 엄격한, 가혹한. The Food Regulatory Agency enforced highly stringent health standards for all commercial imports. Assertion, noun, 주장, 단언. The lawyer provided concrete evidence to actively support her strong assertion of innocence. Covertly, adverb, 은밀하게, 비밀리에. The undercover operative covertly gathered sensitive intelligence deep behind enemy lines. Clandestine, adjective, 비밀해, 은밀한. The two rival politicians held a highly clandestine meeting in the secluded hotel lobby. Skeptical, adjective, 회의적인, 의심 많은. The scientific community remains highly skeptical of the researchers' unverified new findings. Strait of Hormuz, 호르무즈 해협. 이란과 아라비아 반도 오만 사이에 위치한 폭이 약 40km에 불과한 좁은 바닷길로 중동에서 생산되는 석유가 아시아, 유럽 등으로 빠져나가는 유일한 해상 통로입니다. 이곳이 막히면 유가가 폭등하는 경제 마비 사태가 발생합니다. Brent crude, 브렌트유. 영국 북해 지역에서 생산되는 원유로 세계 3대 유가 지표 중 하나입니다. 중동발 지정학적 리스크 등 글로벌 경제 불안 요소에 가장 민감하게 반응하여 국제 유가 흐름을 나타내는 기준이 됩니다. 8.2. Iran implements selective vetting system for Hormuz transit. In a highly calculated strategic maneuver, Iran has transitioned from a total maritime closure to enforcing a selective vetting and registration system for all commercial vessels attempting to transit the Strait of Hormuz. The powerful Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, has aggressively implemented this restrictive protocol, establishing a rigid binary categorizing nations as either friendly or hostile. Under a proposed draft law, any ships bearing the flags of Israel, the United States, or their close geopolitical allies are permanently banned from entering Iranian territorial waters. Senior Iranian military commanders issued stark, uncompromising warnings, threatening to set ablaze any unauthorized vessels that dare to breach the heavily fortified naval blockade. Conversely, Tehran has actively engaged in direct bilateral negotiations with several targeted nations to grant exclusive safe passage. Consequently, selected cargo ships and Aframax oil tankers originating from specific countries like India and Pakistan have successfully navigated the critical choke point without incident. Geopolitical experts argue that this selective blockade strategy is a deliberate psychological tactic designed to severely fracture the international coalition currently aligned against Iran. Vocabulary: calculated, adjective, 계산된, 계획적인. The executive's sudden resignation was a highly calculated move to avoid the incoming scandal. Vetting, noun, 철저한 검증, 신원조회. The intelligence agency conducts a rigorous vetting process for all high-level security clearances. Restrictive, adjective, 제한적인, 구속하는. The heavily restrictive immigration policies prevented thousands of skilled workers from entering. Binary, noun/adjective, 이분법, 이진법에. The complex political issue cannot be simply reduced to a basic binary of good versus evil. Stark, adjective, 극명한, 가혹한, 냉혹한. The documentary paints a stark and unforgiving picture of life within the refugee camp. Uncompromising, adjective, 타협하지 않는, 단호한. The dictator maintained an uncompromising stance against any form of democratic reform. Ablaze, adjective, 불길에 휩싸인, 타오르는. The furious rioters maliciously set the abandoned government building totally ablaze. Bilateral, adjective, 쌍무적인,
양자 간에. The two neighboring countries successfully concluded a historic bilateral trade agreement. Deliberate. Adjective. 의도적인, 고의적인. The deceptive marketing campaign was a deliberate attempt to manipulate consumer choices. Fracture. Verb/noun. 분열시키다, 골절되다. The intense internal disagreement over funding threatens to completely fracture the political party. Aframax. 아프로막스급 유조선. Average Freight Rate Assessment Maximum의 약자로 원유 운반선 중 주로 8만에서 12만 톤 규모의 중대형 선박을 의미합니다. 경제성과 항구 접안 능력이 우수하여 가장 대중적으로 사용되며 해협 통과의 주요 대상이 됩니다. Bilateral negotiations, 양자 협상. 다자간, multilateral이 아닌 오직 두 국가, 양자가 서로 마주 앉아 이익을 교환하는 협상 방식입니다. 이란이 미국을 배제하고 인도나 파키스탄과 1대1로 원유 수송 협상을 타결하는 방식이 이에 해당합니다.
6.2. CMG warns against unauthorized 2026 World Cup broadcasts in China. China Media Group, CMG, has issued a stringent and highly publicized copyright protection statement just days ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The broadcasting giant firmly reaffirmed its exclusive multimedia rights and sublicensing authority for the highly anticipated tournament across the entire Chinese mainland. According to the official mandate, CMG has specifically authorized digital platforms like China Mobile's Migu and Xiaohongshu to provide legal live streams, while explicitly prohibiting any unapproved broadcasts. The network sternly warned that unauthorized organizations or individuals caught distributing World Cup matches via television, internet platforms, IPTV, or mobile applications will face severe legal repercussions. This strict prohibition extends to the creation of derivative digital content, including GIFs, audio clips, and unauthorized social media memes utilizing the official broadcast signals. Furthermore, CMG has vowed to aggressively prosecute entities engaging in ambush marketing or deceptive promotional campaigns that falsely claim association with the tournament. To ensure compliance, CMG's executive office has launched a dedicated large-scale enforcement campaign tailored specifically to protect its massive financial investment in global sports broadcasting rights. Vocabulary. Stringent. Adjective. 엄격한, 가혹한. The Food Regulatory Agency enforced highly stringent health standards for all commercial imports. Reaffirm. Verb. 재확인하다. The two nations met to publicly reaffirm their long-standing mutual defense treaty. Exclusive. Adjective. 독점적인, 전용해. The journalist managed to secure a highly exclusive interview with the elusive billionaire. Mandate. Noun. 명령, 지시, 권한. The newly elected government claimed a strong mandate for sweeping economic reform. Prohibit. Verb. 금지하다. The strict city ordinance explicitly prohibits smoking inside all public buildings. Repercussion. Noun. 파장, 영향, 결과. The sudden collapse of the major bank had severe repercussions throughout the global economy. Derivative. Adjective. 파생적인, 파생물. The financial institution suffered heavy losses due to investments in highly risky derivative products. Prosecute. Verb. 기소하다, 고발하다. The district attorney vowed to aggressively prosecute those responsible for the corporate fraud. Deceptive. Adjective. 기만적인, 속이는. The company was heavily fined for running deceptive advertising campaigns targeting the elderly. Compliance. Noun. 준수, 따름. The pharmaceutical factory was shut down for its absolute lack of compliance with safety regulations. 종종어 예설. Sub-licensing. 2차 라이선스나 재판매. 원 저작권자, FIFA로부터 독점 중개권을 기매한 사업자, CMG가 자신이 확보한 권리의 일부, 다른 방송사나 온라인 플랫폼에 다시 돈을 받고 판매하는 권리입니다. 막대한 중개권료를 분담하기 위해 흔히 사용되는 경제적 수단입니다. 엠부시 마케팅, 내복 마케팅. 공식 스폰서가 아니면서도 마치 공식 스폰서인 것처럼 교묘하게 위장하여 광고 효과를 누리는 기만적인 마케팅 기법입니다. 공식 중개권자와 스폰서의 천문학적인 권리금, 투자 가치를 침해하므로 엄격히 단속됩니다. Number 9. CBC Canada. Number 9. CBC Canada. Number 9. 1. Canada secures historic 1-1 draw against Bosnia-Herzegovina in Toronto. The passionate city of Toronto erupted in euphoric cheers as the Canadian men's national soccer team accomplished a monumental milestone by securing a historic 1-1 draw against Bosnia-Herzegovina. Held at the highly energetic Toronto Stadium, this fiercely contested Group B match ultimately granted Canada its first ever World Cup point on home soil. The opening half presented significant adversity for the hosts, as Bosnian forward Jovo Luki elegantly shattered the deadlock by scoring a precise goal in the 20th minute. Despite heavily trailing for the vast majority of the tense fixture, the relentlessly resilient Canadian squad continuously pressured the disciplined Bosnian defense. This unwavering persistence paid massive dividends in the 77th minute when strategic substitute Sile Larin dramatically buried a spectacular equalizer into the back of the net. The hard-fought draw was characterized by intense, gritty physicality, evident in the rapid issuance of 5 yellow cards distributed evenly between the two aggressively competing nations. Sports analysts universally praise the Canadian team's sheer tenacity, emphasizing that this critical point significantly bolsters their statistical probability of advancing. Vocabulary: euphoric. Adjective: 환희에찬, 도취된. The massive crowd was absolutely euphoric after the home team won the championship at the last second. Monumental. Adjective: 기념비적인, 엄청난. The invention of the internet was a truly monumental leap forward for global communication. Adversity. Noun: 역경, 고난. The team showed incredible character by successfully overcoming severe adversity early in the season. Deadlock. Noun: 교착 상태. The intense labor negotiations reached a complete deadlock after both sides refused to compromise. Resilient. Adjective: 회복력 있는, 탄력 있는. The resilient local community quickly rebuilt their homes after the devastating hurricane. Persistence. Noun: 끈기, 고집. Her relentless persistence in medical research finally led to a groundbreaking discovery. Dividend. Noun: 투자 무력에 대한 배당금, 결실. The company's heavy investment in renewable energy is finally paying massive financial dividends. Equalizer. Noun: 동점골. The star midfielder scored a stunning equalizer in the final seconds of stoppage time. Gritty. Adjective: 거친, 투지 있는. The detective drama is widely praised for its realistic and extremely gritty portrayal of urban crime. Tenacity. Noun: 집요함, 끈기. The detective's unwavering tenacity eventually brought the elusive serial killer to justice. 시사용어 해설. Substitute. 교체 선수, 대체제. 스포츠에서는 경기 도중 벤치에서 투입되는 선수를 뜻하며 경제학에서는 가격이 오를 때 원래 재화를 대신하여 소비할 수 있는 다른 재화, 대체재를 의미합니다. Dividend. 배당금, 결실. 본래 주식회사가 발생시킨 이익의 일부를 주주들에게 분배하는 금액을 뜻합니다. 본 기사에서는 노력이 배당금을 지불했다. paid massive dividends 라는 은유적 표현을 통해 캐나다 팀의 끈질긴 압박이 결국 동점골이라는 달콤한 결실로 이어졌음을 경제용어로 비유했습니다. 9-2. Two German nationals arrested during tense Toronto Stadium encounter. While the Canadian men's soccer team celebrated a historic achievement on the pitch, the immense global scale of the 2026 World Cup also brought unforeseen disciplinary challenges outside the vibrant venue. Local Toronto law enforcement officially confirmed the arrest of 2 German nationals following a highly disruptive physical altercation occurring near the heavily congested Toronto Stadium. The serious incident transpired on Friday during the deeply emotional Group B match between Canada and Bosnia-Herzegovina. According to comprehensive police reports, the 2 identified men have been formally charged with aggressively assaulting an active peace officer who was attempting to safely manage the massive crowds. This unfortunate confrontation starkly highlights the immense logistical and security vulnerabilities faced by host cities when unexpectedly accommodating hundreds of thousands of fiercely passionate international sports tourists. Consequently, the World Cup Organizing Committee, operating in strict conjunction with local municipalities, has mandated a significant escalation in security protocols. Police presence will be immediately reinforced around all major fan zones and stadium perimeters to strictly ensure absolute public safety. Vocabulary. Unforeseen. Adjective. 예기치 못한, 뜻밖의. The construction project was heavily delayed due to several unforeseen weather complications. Altercation. Noun. 경론, 언쟁, 물리적 충돌. The heated verbal argument quickly escalated into a violent physical altercation in the street. Congested. Adjective. 붐비는, 혼잡한. The city center was heavily congested with thousands of angry protesters and riot police. Transpire. Verb. 일어나다, 발생하다. The lawyer demanded to know exactly what had transpired during the incredibly secret meeting. Assault. Verb. Noun. 폭행하다, 공격. The suspect was immediately charged with an unprovoked and brutal physical assault.
confrontation, noun, 대립, 충돌. The aggressive posturing by both armies inevitably led to a highly dangerous military confrontation. Vulnerability, noun, 취약성. The cybersecurity audit exposed several critical vulnerabilities in the network infrastructure. Municipality, noun, 지방자치단체. The local municipality approved a massive new budget specifically for repairing the city roads. Reinforce, verb, 강화하다, 보강하다. The military commander ordered his troops to rapidly reinforce the collapsing defensive wall. Perimeter, noun, 주위, 주변, 외곽. Armed security guards heavily patrol the outer perimeter of the classified research facility. 시사 용어 해설, peace officer, 치안 유지 요원, 경찰, 교도관, 보안관 등 공공의 안녕과 질서를 유지하고 법을 집행할 법적 권한과 의무를 지닌 공무원을 통칭하는 용어입니다. 이들을 폭행하는 것은 공권력에 대한 중대한 도전으로 간주되어 무겁게 처벌받습니다. Logistical vulnerability, 물류 운영적 취약성. 대규모 인원이나 물자가 특정 장소로 한꺼번에 이동할 때 교통, 통신, 보안, 숙박 시스템 등이 이를 감당하지 못해 붕괴되거나 마비되는 시스템상의 약점을 의미합니다.
9-3. Bosnia's World Cup journey highlights soccer's powerful healing role. The participation of the Bosnia and Herzegovina national football team in the 2026 World Cup profoundly transcends the traditional boundaries of international athletic competition. For the heavily scarred nation, the beautiful game serves as a remarkably powerful instrument for collective psychological healing and desperately needed national unity. A poignant CBC sports feature recently highlighted the deeply emotional history of the deeply divided country, specifically focusing on the catastrophic civil war that ruthlessly ravaged the Balkan Peninsula during the 1990s. During those exceptionally dark and terrifying times, the simple, unadulterated joy of playing soccer on shattered streets literally carried many traumatized citizens through relentless trauma and unimaginable despair. Consequently, as the current national squad took to the pitch in Toronto to secure their hard-fought 1-1 draw against Canada, they carried the immense emotional weight of an entire recovering generation. Sports sociologists widely observe that the team's visible presence on the massive global stage acts as a potent, deeply resonant symbol of unbreakable human resilience. Their World Cup journey vividly illustrates how shared cultural passions can miraculously bridge deep ethnic divides and efficiently foster enduring peace. Vocabulary. Transcend. Verb. 초월하다, 넘어서다. True masterpieces of art are able to transcend cultural and linguistic boundaries. Poignant. Adjective. 가슴 아픈, 뭉클한. The documentary concluded with a poignant tribute to the victims of the disaster. Catastrophic. Adjective. 파멸적인, 비극적인. The catastrophic earthquake completely leveled the city, leaving thousands homeless. Ravage. Verb. 유린하다, 파괴하다. The rapidly spreading wildfire ruthlessly ravaged thousands of acres of pristine forest. Unadulterated. Adjective. 불순물이 섞이지 않은, 순수한. The child's unadulterated joy upon seeing the ocean for the first time was truly heartwarming. Relentless. Adjective. 끈질긴, 가차없는. The team's relentless pursuit of perfection finally resulted in a championship title. Despair. Noun. 절망, 체념. He sank into a deep state of despair after losing his lifelong family business. Resonant. Adjective. 깊이 울리는, 공명하는. The speaker's highly resonant voice captivated the attention of the entire auditorium. Bridge. Verb. 메우다, 연결하다. Education is a powerful tool designed to effectively bridge the massive gap between rich and poor. Foster. Verb. 촉진하다, 육성하다. The new government policy is specifically designed to deeply foster economic innovation. 시사 용어 해설. Civil War, 내전. 한 국가의 영토 내에서 서로 다른 정치, 종교, 민족적 배경을 가진 집단들이 무력을 사용하여 벌이는 전쟁입니다. 보스니아 내전은 1990년대 구유고슬라비아 연방이 붕괴하는 과정에서 발생한 참혹한 인종 청소와 비극적인 갈등을 의미합니다. Resilience, 회복 탄력성. 본래 물체가 원래의 모양으로 되돌아오려는 성지, 탄성을 의미하지만 심리학이나 사회학, 경제학에서는 심각한 스트레스나 위기, 전쟁, 자연재해 등을 겪은 후에도 붕괴하지 않고 다시 일어나서 정상화되는 개인이나 국가의 회복 능력을 뜻합니다. 10. DD India. 10. DD India. 10-1. India and U.S. strengthen strategic partnership in diplomatic talks. In a pivotal diplomatic engagement held at New Delhi's historic Hyderabad House, Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio convened to substantially reinforce their nation's deeply rooted comprehensive global strategic partnership. The highly anticipated delegation-level talks focused extensively on proactively deepening bilateral cooperation across several vital sectors, explicitly including uninterrupted trade, advanced technological innovation, and crucial energy security. Secretary Rubio made a highly definitive public statement, emphatically noting that his diplomatic visit was absolutely not about merely restoring deteriorating ties, but rather about deliberately building upon an already exceptionally solid and resilient foundation. Highlighting the sheer magnitude of the alliance, Rubio proudly described the expanding U.S.-India relationship as undisputedly one of the most important in the world. The two senior diplomats heavily emphasized that as the world's two absolute largest functioning democracies, their countries provide an incredibly stable foundation for unprecedented international cooperation. Geopolitical analysts suggest that this intensely publicized meeting serves as a robust, highly visible signal of unified strength, specifically aimed at deterring common regional adversaries and stabilizing volatile economic markets. Vocabulary: pivotal, adjective, 춤추적인, 대단히 중요한. The signing of the trade agreement proved to be a pivotal moment in bilateral relations. Convene, verb, 소집하다, 회합하다. The International Committee will convene next week to discuss immediate climate action. Uninterrupted, adjective, 중단 없는, 연속된. The hospital's critical care units rely on a completely uninterrupted external power supply. Definitive, adjective, 확정적인, 결정적인. The forensic evidence provided a highly definitive answer to the long-standing mystery. Deteriorating, adjective, 악화되는, 저하되는. The critically deteriorating weather conditions forced the hikers to quickly abandon their expedition. Magnitude, noun, 규모, 중요도. The sheer magnitude of the catastrophic earthquake shocked the international community. Undisputedly, adverb, 명백하게, 논쟁의 여지 없이. She is undisputedly the most talented and successful musician of her entire generation. Deter, verb, 단념시키다, 억제하다. High financial penalties are heavily utilized to effectively deter corporations from polluting rivers. Adversary, noun, 적, 상대방. The political candidate respectfully acknowledged her formidable adversary during the televised debate. Volatile, adjective, 변동성이 큰, 불안정한. Investors are strongly advised to remain cautious in highly volatile financial markets. 시사 유머 해석, 포괄적 글로벌 전략 동반자 관계. 두 국가가 안보, 외교뿐만 아니라 경제, 우주, 첨단 기술 등 모든 영역에서 최고 수준의 밀접한 동맹 관계를 맺고 글로벌 이슈에 공동 대응하는 파트너십을 의미합니다. 양자 협력, 여러 나라가 참여하는 다자간 협력이 아닌 두 국가 사이에서 1대1로 직접 조약을 맺고 경제적, 군사적 이익을 긴밀하게 교환하는 외교적 행위를 뜻합니다. 10.2. India formally joins U.S.-led AI supply chain security initiative. In a highly significant technological and geopolitical development, India has formally announced its decision to join the newly established U.S.-led initiative focused purely on artificial intelligence AI supply chain security. This critical commitment was publicly confirmed shortly after Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar prominently participated in the Critical Minerals Ministerial, conveniently convened in Washington, D.C. On the busy sidelines of this strategic ministerial gathering, Jaishankar clearly articulated India's unwavering endorsement of the Forum on Resource Geostrategic Engagement, FORGE. FORGE serves as a vastly upgraded, highly robust successor to the previous Mineral Security Partnership, specifically engineered to meticulously safeguard access to essential technological raw materials. This collaborative technological alliance explicitly aims to systematically eliminate heavy dependencies on monopolistic nations for rare earth elements, which are absolutely vital for manufacturing AI microchips and green energy components. Technology industry analysts strongly interpret this maneuver as a massive economic bloc formation designed to seamlessly secure the futuristic technological sovereignty of major democratic nations against unpredictable geopolitical weaponization of resources. Vocabulary: initiative, noun, 주도권,
새로운 계획, 프로젝트. The city council launched a new green initiative to reduce plastic waste drastically. Articulate. Verb. 명확히 표현하다. The brilliant scientist was able to perfectly articulate his highly complex quantum theory. Unwavering. Adjective. 흔들림 없는, 확고한. The leader maintained her totally unwavering support for the deeply controversial environmental policy. Endorsement. Noun. 지지, 승인. The struggling political candidate finally secured the crucial endorsement of the labor union. Successor. Noun. 후임자, 계승하는 것. The cutting-edge smartphone is the direct successor to last year's highly popular model. Safeguard. Verb. 보호하다, 안전장치를 하다. The bank implemented strict new encryption protocols to rigorously safeguard client financial data. Dependency. Noun. 의존성, 종속. The country is desperately trying to reduce its severe economic dependency on imported oil. Sovereignty. Noun. 주권, 통치권. The fiercely independent nation vowed to heavily defend its absolute territorial sovereignty against invaders. Weaponization. Noun. 무기화. The sudden weaponization of crucial energy resources caused widespread panic across the European continent. 시사유머 해설. Supply chain security. 공급망 안보. 단순히 상품을 사고 파는 무역망을 넘어 국가의 존립과 직결되는 반도체, AI, 배터리 등 핵심 품목의 원재료 수급부터 제조, 판매까지의 전 과정을 외부의 위협이나 독점으로부터 안전하게 지켜내는 국가안보 전략입니다. Critical minerals, 핵심 광물, 리튬, 코발트, 니켈, 히토류 등 인공지능 칩과 전기차 배터리 등 미래 첨단 사업에 필수적이지만 특정 국가, 주로 중국의 채굴 및 정제 인프라가 집중되어 있어 외교적 무기화의 대상이 되기 쉬운 광물 자원을 의미합니다.
10.3. Quad meeting yields new maritime and critical minerals frameworks. Following the highly productive Quad Foreign Ministers meeting, Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar delivered an optimistic joint press briefing alongside top diplomatic counterparts from the United States, Australia, and Japan. Jaishankar publicly described the intensive multilateral discussions as exceptionally productive, detailing several heavily impactful strategic agreements reached by the powerful four-nation alliance. Foremost among these critical outcomes is the formal establishment of the Indo-Pacific Maritime Surveillance Initiative, a highly sophisticated framework specifically engineered to synthesize a common operating picture across the vast maritime domain. This comprehensive technological surveillance system will exponentially enhance regional maritime cooperation, allowing aligned nations to swiftly detect and fiercely counter illegal fishing, piracy, and aggressive territorial incursions. Moreover, the Quad deeply committed to immediately assembling a specialized expert panel focused heavily on aggressively upgrading vulnerable port infrastructure and ruthlessly securing fragile critical mineral supply chains. Geopolitical defense experts universally agree that these newly minted, highly robust frameworks are intentionally designed to heavily fortify the Quad's undisputed geopolitical dominance in the fiercely contested Indo-Pacific theater. Vocabulary. Multilateral. Adjective. 다자간에, 다국적에. The crisis can only be resolved through comprehensive multilateral negotiations among all involved nations. Impactful. Adjective. 영향력이 강한. The charity organization launched an incredibly impactful campaign to rapidly reduce child poverty. Foremost. Adjective/adverb. 가장 중요한, 선두에. He is widely considered the absolute foremost expert in the complex field of quantum computing. Sophisticated. Adjective. 정교한, 세련된. The highly sophisticated radar system can easily track multiple incoming stealth targets simultaneously. Incursion. Noun. 침입, 습격. The sudden and violent border incursion aggressively violated the previously established international peace treaty. Assemble. Verb. 조립하다, 모으다, 구성하다. The manager urgently rushed to assemble a dedicated crisis response team over the weekend. Upgrade. Verb/noun. 개선하다, 향상시키다. The city council unanimously voted to significantly upgrade the deeply flawed public transportation network. Fragile. Adjective. 취약한, 깨지기 쉬운. The unexpectedly rapid economic recovery remains highly fragile due to continuous global trade tensions. Fortify. Verb. 강화하다, 요새화하다. The defending army worked completely through the night to heavily fortify their vulnerable defensive positions. Theater. Noun. 군사, 전구, 주요 활동 무대. The strategic Pacific theater played an absolutely critical role during the devastating global conflict.
Saturday, June 13th, 2026. Today's world news headline summary. 1. CNN 1-1 SpaceX IPO shatters records, minting world's first trillionaire. SpaceX has officially executed the largest initial public offering IPO in history, debuting on the NASDAQ and fundamentally altering the financial landscape of the commercial space industry. By offering over 555 million shares at $135 each, the aerospace titans successfully raised an unprecedented $75 billion. The stock's immediate surge of up to 25% on its first trading day propelled the company's valuation past the $2 trillion mark. Consequently, CEO Elon Musk has cemented his status as the world's first trillionaire, reflecting massive investor confidence in his futuristic endeavors. Musk emphasized that the astronomical proceeds will directly fund the company's ambitious goals of establishing multiplanetary colonies and expanding satellite infrastructure. As quoted during the launch, Musk stated, "I gave SpaceX less than a 10% chance of succeeding at all," highlighting the monumental leap from a precarious startup to an undisputed industry behemoth. This historic flotation not only injects massive capital into deep space exploration, but also accelerates the integration of aerospace engineering with advanced artificial intelligence. Vocabulary. Execute. Verb. 실행하다, 단행하다. The corporation executed the merger precisely as planned. Unprecedented. Adjective. 전례 없는. The stock market witnessed an unprecedented surge in tech shares. Valuation. Noun. 기업 가치 평가. The startup's valuation skyrocketed after the latest funding round. Propel. Verb. 나아가게 하다, 몰고 가다. The new technological breakthrough propelled the company to global dominance. Cement. Verb. 확고히 하다, 굳히다. The treaty cemented the alliance between the two powerful nations. Proceed. Noun. 주로 복수형. Proceeds. 수익금. The proceeds from the IPO will be invested in research and development. Ambitious. Adjective. 야심찬. The government unveiled an ambitious plan to eradicate carbon emissions. Precarious. Adjective. 위태로운, 불확실한. The economic situation remains precarious despite recent interventions. Behemoth. Noun. 거대 기업, 거물. Amazon has become an undeniable behemoth in the retail sector. Flotation. Noun. 상장, 공개. The company's flotation on the stock exchange was highly successful. 시사 용어 해설. Initial Public Offering, IPO, 기업 공개. 비상장 기업이 외부 투자자들에게 처음으로 주식을 공개적으로 매도하여 자본을 조달하는 과정을 의미합니다. 스페이스X의 이번 IPO는 750억 달러라는 천문학적 규모로 진행되어 세계 자본시장의 이목을 집중시켰습니다. 트릴리언의 조만장자. 자산 규모가 1조 달러, 한화 약 1,300조 원 이상을 넘는 개인을 지칭합니다. 억만장자를 뜻하는 빌리오네어에서 파생된 단어로 이번 상장을 통해 일론 머스크의 순자산이 돌파하며 최초로 이 타이틀을 획득할 전망입니다.